Welcome to part 2 of Is Redbubble Broken?, where we spoke about Redbubble's copyright issues, their tag spamming issues, and a whole bunch of other issues that they're having. And hopefully this is the last installment of any Redbubble rant video. In this video we've taken it a bit further. Is Redbubble dead? I know. Bold statement. Well, let's talk about it. I have done way more research since the last video. I've looked at articles, looked at things the CEO has said, and I want to share my findings with you. And it's way worse than what I thought. And in this video, I don't just want to tell you the problem and I don't just want to rant, but I want to actually give you solutions. So stay until the end of the video where hopefully I'll be able to give you some workable solutions. Let's split this video up into sections so it's easier for you to follow. Section 1 is the obvious copyright issue that is going on in Redbubble. Section 2 is the Redbubble Partner Program, and Section 3 is some legal implications and a history lesson. And finally, Section 4 is going to be some solutions that you can try and do yourself. So let's start with Section 1, the obvious copyright issue going on with Redbubble. And I've got my notes on my iPad here because it's quite hard to follow because some of this stuff is taken directly from their terms and conditions and all these kind of things. So let me start by saying, in Redbubble's terms, they say this: repeat infringer policy. It is Redbubble's policy in appropriate circumstances to disable and or terminate the accounts of users who repeatedly infringe or are repeatedly charged with infringing the copyright, trademark rights, other intellectual property rights, or public rights of others. But did they stick to that statement? That statement was a hard statement to read. Did they stick to that statement? Well, let's find out. Over here, I've got my computer. I've searched for a few things on Redbubble, as you can probably see. Let's just search for Nike, and we've got 17,000 results, and most of them are copyright. Copyright, trademark, copyright, trademark, all of it. It's just not allowed. None of that is allowed. I mean, all these people, they're still here. They are still selling on Redbubble. Right. I searched other things as well. So I searched Gucci. Right. All these really, really expensive brands that do not want their products sold on Redbubble with the crappy quality of clothing, right? There's a reason these brands are expensive besides the name. So I searched for Gucci, and I've got Gucci, Yves Saint Laurent, I've got Chanel, I've got Louis Vuitton, I've got all this different stuff here. Guess, like, so, you know, if I want to buy a Gucci t-shirt and I don't really care if it's real or not, I guess I don't need to go to China anymore. I could literally just go to Redbubble, search in Gucci t-shirt, and buy myself a Gucci t-shirt. That shouldn't be allowed. Anyway, I kept going, right? You got Disney. Everyone knows Disney is very, very against people using their branding. So you've got the castle. You've got the guy from, what's his name? Squirt from Finding Nemo. You've got Mickey Mouse. You've got the gospel choir, Muse people. You've got, it's all over, okay? And finally, Marvel. Again, Captain America. You got Spider-Man. You got Thor. You got Loki, you got Black Panther, you got all of them, okay? And I just want to quickly stress that this isn't just a Redbubble issue. Other websites do this as well, so I'm not like ripping on Redbubble only, even though this video is mostly about Redbubble. But you've got Etsy. Etsy is really, really bad with the copyrights and all these kind of things. Look, if I search Mandalorian t-shirt, I mean, I could basically get whatever I wanted, any brand, anything I want. If I don't care if it's fake, I can just go over to Etsy as well. And one thing I did notice is I searched Amazon, and I have heard Amazon's also not the best at this whole copyright stuff, but they're pretty good. When I searched for Disney on Amazon, I was expecting to see a lot of Disney t-shirts, and I saw a few, but I didn't see a crazy amount. Yes, there's a few here, but the difference with Amazon is some of those people are actually Disney selling their t-shirts, right? And then when I searched for Marvel, I got these three, so this was the only one that looked a bit out. And then the rest I couldn't really find much, right? These are just movies and DVDs. So I definitely noticed that Amazon have the least amount of copyright trademarked products. And I would say it's a close call between Etsy and Redbubble. The difference is I use Redbubble a lot more than Etsy, which is why I'm talking solely about Redbubble in this video. Now let's move on to section 2, the Redbubble Partner Program. Redbubble have this thing where they've partnered with big brands, so you and me basically can create designs with these brands. So like Rick and Morty, any of these big brands, and you can submit this work to Redbubble. It will get checked to see if it's good enough and it's got the right intentions and the brand is happy with it, and if it passes all those checks, it will go onto Redbubble and you'll be able to sell it without any problem of copyright or trademark or anything like that. So let's just quickly go and take a look. So this is the Redbubble Partner Program, okay? It's very, very simple. You have to create really good art. You can see Rick and Morty, Steven Universe, Adventure Time. They've got a whole bunch more. And you just have to submit your fan art. Just make sure it's really, really good. It has to be amazing, okay? They're not going to accept crap, right? And then if we just have a look at which partners they actually include, because I did look at this to see if they include Nike and Gucci and all these places, but they don't. But you can see there's a long list, and I'll put these links in the description if you want to see. But you've got Adventure Time, Alfred Hitchcock. You've got so many, right? All of these. Emoji, that's pretty cool. It's a very, very long list. And I have to say, hats off to Redbubble for going and finding the brands that wanted to work with them. It's really, really good. It's really impressive. It shows that they are trying to go in the right direction and trying to curb this issue by just partnering with all these brands. And the only thing that concerns me is when they've partnered with, let's say, majority of these brands, how are they going to manage t-shirts coming in? Because at the moment they clearly can't manage the t-shirts coming in, and that's why there's so much Nike stuff and Gucci stuff, right? So if they, let's say, partner with Nike, when you submit a piece of Nike artwork, they're gonna have to accept it and look at it. But the question is, do they have the manpower to do that? Because it doesn't sound like they do, even though they're a huge company and they should be able to. And then also, I just want to quickly stress, there are just some companies I don't think they'll ever partner with, maybe like Nike and Gucci, just because those companies aren't just about the brand, they're also about the quality. And at the end of the day, Nike will not want their logo on a Gildan 3000 t-shirt. They have their own quality control that they like to do with their brand and their clothing. So I just think there are certain companies that will never be on Redbubble. And now let's go to section 3, the legal implications, and also just a little history lesson. So again, back to the iPad. So let's start with this section by reading some of Redbubble's terms, just so we know who we're getting into bed with. Under their intellectual property rights and license section, they say this: by submitting listings to Redbubble, you grant Redbubble a non-exclusive worldwide royalty-free sub-license, able and transferable license to use. They can reproduce, they can distribute, they can prepare derivative works and display the content of such listings in connection with Redbubble anywhere, basically. Services and businesses in facilitating sale of your product, including without limitation for promoting and redistributing part of all of the Redbubble site in any media or format throughout any media channels. You also hereby grant each user of the Redbubble site a non-exclusive license to access your content through the site and to use, reproduce, distribute, and display such content as permitted through the functionality of the site under this user agreement. So I don't really understand this. I mean, I'm not a lawyer here, and please, obviously, take advice from a lawyer, but does that sentence mean that I can see someone else's work on Redbubble and then use it and redistribute it? I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, it says the above license terminates within commercially reasonable time after you remove or delete your listings from Redbubble. So if you put your stuff on Redbubble and then delete it after a certain amount of time, that whole sentence is defunct. Right, and then later on, under the indemnity section, they say, we take no responsibility, even though they've just claimed ownership of everyone's designs. They say, you agree to indemnity, defend and hold us, our officers, directors, employees, agents and representatives harmless, as well as all third-party printing, manufacturing and or otherwise fulfilling the products you're selling via the website. Basically, what they're saying is, we own your stuff. However, you're agreeing that anything you make, if it's copyright, if it's not copyright, if it's breaking the law, if it's not breaking the law, whatever, it's got nothing to do with them, right? They're completely clear. Their printers are clear. Their employees are clear. They're fine. So even though they're claiming ownership of your work, when shit hits the fan, they're not, in a way. Like, it's all your fault. If you post a Nike t-shirt, Nike can't come after Redbubble. They can come after you. So that's why you have to be really, really careful. Now, this all sounded really fishy to me. I didn't really like the sound of it, but then again, who does like the sound of terms and conditions from a website? But anyways, I did a bit more research and I wanted to see if anyone's actually tried to sue Redbubble, and there has been some people who have tried to sue Redbubble. They haven't succeeded, but they have tried to sue them. And the reason for this is because of the the Digital Millennial Copyright Act, the DMCA for short, which states the expensive growth of print-on-demand technology is quietly challenging the decade-old laws that govern the use of intellectual property on the internet. A 1998 law called the Digital Millennial Copyright Act shields online platforms from liability for copyright infringement for merely hosting user-uploaded digital content. So Redbubble's excuse is because they're not printing the works themselves, they are solely just hosting your designs, they fall under this DMCA Act, and then they're not liable for any of these issues. Now, let me just quickly stress, the DMCA does not apply to trademarks, which cover names, word marks, and other proprietary symbols, such as the Nike swoosh, right? Those are trademarks, so even those aren't covered under the DMCA Act. So looking at Nike swoosh on the Redbubble site, that is Redbubble's problem. They should want to sort that out ASAP. So as I just said, in the multiple lawsuits that Redbubble have got, they have claimed that this DMCA Act is where they stand because they're not printing, they're just hosting, they're not liable. And unfortunately, there have been other platforms that have also been sued but haven't got as lucky. For example, Zazzle was hit with a huge lawsuit costing millions. And it's odd that Redbubble are being treated differently. I know Zazzle, they say they print their own stuff and that could be the major difference. But this DMCA law seems so outdated. I mean, what was it, 1998? It seems so outdated and it just feels like Redbubble are bouncing around the law to cover their ass, and that's not right, is it? Now, a huge concern for me is if Redbubble gets sued and they shift the blame over to their printers, or they shift the blame over to us, that's going to stop printers wanting to work with them, and that's going to stop sellers wanting to work with them, which inevitably will lead to a huge decline in people selling on Redbubble, printers working with Redbubble, and Redbubble becoming bigger and bigger as a company, and that's really scary. So what I want to say is don't put all your eggs in one basket with Redbubble. Make sure you've spread yourself over multiple websites. Don't just sell on Redbubble. For example, you can put it on Society6, Teachip, Amazon. I know each print-on-demand company comes with their own issues. However, it's really good to spread yourself over multiple print-on-demand companies just so you're safe, or you're safer than if you just put everything into one company. I'm in the process of testing out other companies. I'm in talks with certain companies. I'm uploading to other companies, and I've just started a Shopify website, which I'm going to share with you in a specific video, which I'm really excited. I'm not ready to announce it, but I'm really excited to tell you all about that in the future. But I'm trying out different things, and I hopefully will be able to bring you some different websites that you can upload your designs to as well. Now let's move on to section 4. Solutions. What could we do? And I've kind of touched on this already in this video, but the first thing we can do is just branch out. Put your stuff on more websites, and I want to say try and get accepted, or try and apply for merch by Amazon, because I know they have their own issues, and I know not everyone loves them, but they are pretty good when it comes to this, and I've noticed that they're pretty good when it comes to all of this. As well as that, Amazon have so much brand awareness, they have so much brand loyalty, and I don't see Amazon declining anytime soon. I'll definitely be making way more videos on Amazon in 2021, as well as many other platforms besides just Redbubble. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I really hope this was the last rant video from Redbubble. But then again, who knows? Maybe something else will happen, I don't know. Before ending, I also just want to say I'm not a lawyer. Seek legal advice if you think you need to. Don't ever go to a YouTuber just to seek legal advice. Maybe, what was it, Legal Eagle, that YouTuber? He seems to be pretty good right now, but still, if you feel like you're doing something wrong, you probably are. And then if you don't know, ask a lawyer, don't ask a YouTuber. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, in order for a design to be 100% allowed, the design needs to be okay, the font needs to be okay, the imagery, all of it. Make sure you're able to use all of those elements in commercial purposes, And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in tomorrow's video where I'm doing another video with Lauren, so definitely come back for that video. And other proprietary and other God, I tried to say the sentence like 10 times. And other proprietary